Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing my August wrap-up, and I know I haven't done a wrap-up on this channel in a really long time, but I'm starting now and I'm hopefully going to stick to them. But also a lot of the books that I read this month I borrowed from the library, so I only actually have 2 physical copies with me, and the rest I'll just like put a picture on the screen. Starting out with the books that I read that I actually own, the first book that I read this month was It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. And I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I'm going to be doing a whole non-spoiler review about this book soon, so definitely look out for that. But basically this book is about a girl named Lily, and she moves to Boston to fulfill her dream of opening her own flower shop. And then she meets a guy named Ryle, and then things take off from there. I don't want to say too much about this book because I think it's best to go into it blind, but I am super excited for you guys to pick up this book. If you like Colleen Hoover, you should pick it up. Even if you don't like Colleen Hoover, I definitely think you should pick it up because I think this is a really important book that I think everyone should read. So definitely check this one out because it's definitely one of my favorite books that I've read this year. And then the last book that I actually own that I read this month, and I'm so happy I finally finished this book, is The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. My copy is a little dinged up and it's all gross because I took this book with me on vacation. I've been reading this book for like literally 2 months, but I took it with me on vacation to Mexico, and I just brought it with me everywhere because I just wanted to finish it, and I was absolutely loving it. And this book was amazing. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I didn't give it a full 5 because it took me so long to read because it's so dense and everything, but I did think the world building was amazing, and I thought that it was just a really great book, and I'm really excited to continue on with the series. If you don't know, this book is about, I like to describe it as like Avatar: The Last Airbender, but with the light spectrum. So the magic system in this world, they use the light spectrum. So there's this guy called the Prism, and he's kind of like the Avatar, like he can control all forms of light. And then there's like other people who can wield magic, and they're kind of just like other benders, and then there's also people that can't do anything with magic. So that's why I kind of like to compare it to Avatar: The Last Airbender, if you are familiar with that series, because that's the easiest way for me to explain this. This is a very complex book. It's a high fantasy adult novel, but I did really enjoy. The next book I read was actually a manga, and that was Full Metal Alchemist volumes 2 and 3. And I gave both of these 4 out of 5 stars. I started reading this last month or the month before, and I really liked it, so I decided to continue on. But I did give them both 4 out of 5 stars because they were good, but they weren't like anything spectacular. The next book I read was Kingdom of Ashes by Rhiannon Thomas. This is the second book in A Wicked Thing. That series, I think it's a series. It's definitely not a duology, but it's a series. I don't know if it's a trilogy or not. But the first book, A Wicked Thing, is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, but it's so quick paced, and like I read the whole thing in like a day. And it's one of my favorite books that I read so far this year, and the sequel was not a disappointment. It was even better, I think. I ended up giving them both the same rating though, which was 4.5 out of 5 stars because it was just so good. And it actually was kind of giving me like A Court of Mist and Fury feels, because it was kind of like Sleeping Beauty, but it also was like A Court of Mist and Fury, like there was that type of relationship, like the love to hate type of thing. And there was also dragons in the second book, which if you don't know me, I am obsessed with dragons. They're like my favorite mythical creatures, so like that was super great, and I just really loved everything about this book, and I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was With Malice by Eileen Cook, and this is like a murder mystery psychological thriller. I don't think it's a psychological thriller, but it's like a YA kind of like thriller type of novel. It's about this girl, and I forget her name. Wow, that's kind of sad. But she went on a trip to Italy, and she got in a car accident, and the book starts with her waking up, and she had no idea. She couldn't remember any of her trip from Italy, so the whole book is her trying to find out like what happened when she was in Italy. And she also finds out that her best friend dies, and that's not a spoiler, it happens in like one of the first few chapters. But I really like this book. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I literally read it in one sitting. Like it was so good, and I just wanted to know what happened. So I definitely recommend reading that if you are looking for something in like the murder. I guess it was kind of a murder mystery. I don't know how to describe this book. I don't know what it falls under, but it was really good. The next book that I read was American Girls, and I started reading this book because of She Might Be Monica. She like made a video about it, and it's about this girl. I don't remember any of their names. It's about this girl who steals her stepmom's credit card and buys a plane ticket to Los Angeles, and she ends up living with her sister there. And she, between like being on all the between like her sister's an actress, so she goes on all the movie sets and everything, and she ends up doing this project which was researching the Manson girls for a short film that like her sister's working on. And I thought that was really interesting. She starts like comparing her life to like one of the Manson girls and like how it's similar and also how it's very different, and it's like a very great coming of age story. And I just thought it was a really great summer read, so if you want to find a read for like the last few days of summer, I definitely recommend it. And I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was really good. And then the last book that I read was Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire, and I loved this book. It's so short. It's like less than 200 pages, but it's so good. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. And like, yes, it did have its faults, but like I just enjoyed it so much, and like I didn't mind the things that were wrong with it. Mostly what was wrong with it was that it was really short, so there wasn't a lot of world building, and that's what I was super interested in, but like again, I didn't mind. But it's basically about the kids who go to like mystical lands or whatever, like Alice in Wonderland or like Narnia. If you go to a land like that, and when they come back like adjusting to reality, they're all having a hard time adjusting to reality, so they go to this school, and the story takes place there, and it follows the main character Nancy, and she went to a sort of like underworld type of thing. It follows a bunch of different characters, but it's from the perspective, or it's not, I don't know if it's from the perspective. It follows a bunch of different characters, but it focuses mainly on Nancy's story. And I really liked the way it like delved into the worlds and like learning about all the different worlds, and I really liked learning about like their therapy sessions and like all the different things behind the worlds. But then it started turning into like a murder mystery type of thing, which I still really liked. Some people, that's what they don't like about this book, but I kind of liked that. I thought it was really interesting and it kept the story going. I absolutely love this book, and I'm definitely going to continue on. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a few more books out with that. So yeah, those are all the things that I read in the month of August. Let me know what you guys read down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!